by Robitussin. But to vote, all I need is a library card. So I have to try and do this. I don't know if I can, but give me 1 second. So I want to talk about, I can't get it, never mind. So I wanted to talk about the pharmaceutical industry. Now, picture in the background playing I Want to Be Sedated. Then I want to be sedated. You want to sing with me? No? So the announcer comes on and he said, and you see people running, they're having a great time, they're frolicking in the fields. I Want to Be Sedated is playing in the background. And suddenly the announcer starts, depressed, anxious, horny, try Fuckatol. Vaginal dryness, erectile dysfunction, try Fuckatol. Do you have a pain around your anal region? Try Fuckatol. Do not use Fuckatol if you're allergic. How would I know? I'm not a chemist. And at the end of the commercial, you see all the little fat people like me. They're all running around, they're having a great time, and they're all really enjoying Fuckatol. So here's something interesting. I recently became an ordained minister. An ordained minister. Now, the reason I became an ordained minister is because my nephew wants me to do his wedding ceremony. Now, I mean, you guys don't know me that well, but could you imagine somebody asking me to be the celebrant at their wedding?
God, no.
No. So, and the other thing is, I know a lot of the comics, especially guys who've been doing this for a long time, they always have like a merch table, right? So they got hats, they got shirts, they got all this stuff. I don't have any merch. So when we take a break, if you're interested, for $10, I'll do your vow renewal ceremony. Italians, we're big hand talkers. We go a mile a minute. My wife especially, she looks like she's landing planes on an aircraft carrier. A couple of years ago, I had a shoulder replacement, and I was strapped up for a while, and I actually developed a stutter. I was just standing there going, when I was a kid, growing up in Brooklyn, Italian neighborhoods and Jewish neighborhoods were adjacent, right? So you develop friendships outside of your own ethnic community. And when I was a kid, I had a little lunchbox, and it had real silverware in it. It had a little wine glass. It had linen napkins. And I had 6 extra meatball sandwiches that I used to sell to the Jewish kids. I made a lot of money. You're Italian when you use the rubber band from the broccoli rabe as your wallet? When I was a kid, my wallet broke, so I went to my grandfather. They said, Papa, I need a new wallet. He reached in the drawer. He threw the rubber bands on the table, and he said, pick the color you like. I've been around Italian women for, 6, 7 generations now. And I can tell you, Italian women talk incessantly. Italian women talk incessantly. Which blows that whole theory out of the water of, I'm not sucking that because I can't breathe. Based on their talking, I can tell they breathe through their ears. This whole aging thing has really sucked. Like, I got arthritis now from head to toe. I go into the doctor, I tell him, it's very painful. What can we do about it? He says, well, you're going to have to just learn to live with it because arthritis makes everything stiff. No, it doesn't. My hands are so bad when I wake up in the morning, it looks like I'm throwing gang signs. I got 3 trigger fingers on each hand. As a kid, I used to love getting high. It was the best. Put on some Led Zeppelin, smoke a couple of bones. It was the best. Now, at this point in my life, when I want a really good buzz, I just stand up fast and my blood pressure takes over. Thank you. Apparently other people have blood pressure issues. So, drinking hits very differently as you age. Now I get a 3-day hangover from a blueberry smoothie. And you're really getting old when your balls are longer than a CVS receipt. You guys could say I got more than a few tattoos. Pixie takes me to get another tattoo, drops me off. I go in the place, I get the tattoo, I go home. She's looking and she goes, "Why would you get 3 lines tattooed above your knee?" I said, "Well, you remember when the kids were little, we would measure their height, draw lines on the door jamb? Have you heard this before? So she says, "Why would you do that?" I said, "Well, to be honest, I'm trying to measure the impact of gravity on my balls." She goes, "And why the dotted line?" I said, "Because at that point, no more shorts." I've found out over the last few years that there's basically 4 rules to aging. 1 is you never pass up a bathroom. 2, you never waste an erection. 3, you never trust a fart. And 4, and most importantly for me, you never, ever, ever get on the floor without a plan to get back up. You know, Pixie and I have been married for 40 years, and what I've learned is, thank you. What I've learned is, after 40 years of marriage, you begin to sort of anticipate things, right? So she'll come running in the house, and she'll be running around, and I'm like, what's going on? She goes, "I'm looking for my glasses. They're on top of her head." And she'll have about half of a conversation in her head before she ever brings me into it. At that precise point, I'm always accused of never paying attention. You know, the time we went through menopause was interesting. I like to call it the thermostat wars. She would make it so cold in the house, we'd actually have intermittent flurries in the bedroom. I asked her about the hot flashes because I couldn't understand it. I would see her, she'd rip my clothes off, she's sweating bullets, she's going crazy. I said to her, "Explain to me what this is like." She says, "Well, I feel like I'm burning from the inside out." I said, "Well, I get it now." I says, "It's like when I have a very spicy Italian meal." I woke up a half hour later and she was standing over me with the frying pan. You know, we're in bed one night and I hear bzzz. Hear a little louder and faster. Bzzz. I get all excited, I roll over, I'm all ready to go. And all she's got is the little fan. Trying to cool herself off. Menopause for an Italian woman is just simply Mother Nature's way of saying, you're going to deal with facial hair for the rest of your life. My Nona, in fact, had such a luxurious beard when she was in her 90s that she was asked to front for a ZZ Top cover band. All right, that's my time. Thank you, Charlie Foxtrot. And remember, fuck it all to get comfortably numb.